I live on coffee and soda water, clearly. And I was desperate. Like I had 10 minutes. I have nowhere else to go. So I'm like looking up Taco Bell's recipe because I'm like, I need to know ingredients. Am I going to die from this? What is in this? In their pinto, like their regular bean burrito, there are pink beans. So I posed the question, Matt, what are pink beans?
Brandy, God bless you, woman. You're back.
Hey, I am back.
You know, I didn't even know I'm Mexican. I didn't even know that tacos with cheese in them, predominantly just melted cheese, were called quesadillas till I was like 16. Because I was like an idiot growing up. I was like, I would go to see my grandma, who was this like million-year-old Mexican lady. She was great, and she had the cast iron pans.
Exact amount of years.
Yes,
million.
She was a million, and her oil was like 500,000 years old because she is like classical like Mexican grandma, right? So she saved her oil. So in her big cast iron pan on the stove that never moved or got clean, she would just put a lid on it, and then when she wanted to cook, you know, egg tacos, she'd open it. So that's what we would go over to her house. She lived in, I think it was like Fresno or something. I don't know. I was a little kid, but we would go over and she'd make us these egg tacos, and then she'd make us cheese tacos. And we're like, yes, awesome. So everything was just a taco. And then, you know, Taco Bell had quesadillas. I was like, what the hell's a quesadilla? Like, I'm not a very good person.
Have you heard of pintos? Matt, I'm going to blow your mind. They are beans. Pintos and cheese are beans and cheese.
What's up with black beans being turtle beans?
I don't know. Do you know what pink beans are?
No. I've never heard of pink beans.
I looked up. Okay, you're going to... Because
I don't know how we got on Mexican food all of a sudden.
I don't know. I think we're both hungry. That's what it is. We're not eating today.
Oh my God. By the way, is Spitfire a member?
They are a member.
Okay, I went to Spitfire the other day and sat on the patio with a buddy, and I was like, I don't know, this might be crazy, like, because I don't like being seen in public, so I was like anxious to go out in public. I know, but I see people in my studio, and that's how I get to know people. I'm not like out. And we go up, we're just meeting to see each other and say hi. We go up to the patio. There are like one or two other people up there. It was the fairest evening the entire summer. We got bought like the seasoning on the margarita mix, or the like on the rim. I was like, what is this? Like, this is red, because it wasn't just like, you know, rock salt. It was, I don't know what they did, but I was like, dude, you win. And their salsa, Spitfire's salsa that they give you with their chips, oh my God, not just the guac, but the red thick salsa. Do they make that in-house? They have to.
It's my assumption that everything is pretty much made in-house. One of my new favorite things, though, has been their smash burger taco.
Oh my!
Did you see it advertised?
No.
Oh my gosh. It is like, I shouldn't have eaten it. It had egg. I was swollen for days, but that's besides the point. So it's like a burger patty that they smash, and then they put the cheese and then the shredded lettuce and like a Thousand Island, but it's on a corn tortilla. And then they like fold it, and you eat this like smash burger top.
Okay, true story. Okay, so my anyway, Spitfire is great, and like the margarita with shout out Spitfire. But here's the thing: their smash burger taco. I did not know this, but that's how I grew up with my dad making tacos. So my dad's whole taco thing, right? Like, I guess my grandma, million-year-old Mexican lady, this is how they did it. Like, the concept of like loose meat tacos with a hard shell is not one that I ever messed around with as a kid. Tacos for me as a kid were, my dad takes a corn tortilla, you know, heats up the oil, whatever. Takes a corn tortilla, heats it up 5 seconds per corn tortilla in between 2 plates in the microwave. So it's like six tortillas, just so they,
steam
steam a little bit. Then he takes the ground beef and smashes it on to like the half moon.
And then you fry it that way.
Yeah, and then you let the first portion with the meat go in, and the taco the shell loosens up enough, and you flip it over. That's it. And it's like a smash burger. And then you just take it out, let it drain, and then you crack it. Crack it open, stuff the shredded lettuce and stuff in it, and then you eat it. Oh, they were so good. We must be hungry.
I think we're hungry.
It's approaching lunchtime.
It really is.
We're definitely not having those tacos today.
We're learning that we have to have food in front of us during every one of these filmings.
We have hot coffee though.
We do.
Helps.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We need coffee.
Anyway, you were saying pink beans or turtle beans? Like, tell me about the beans.
Okay, so I needed soda water. Obviously, I live on coffee and soda water, clearly. And I was desperate. Like, I had 10 minutes. I have nowhere else to go. So I'm like looking up Taco Bell's recipe because I'm like, I need to know ingredients. Am I going to die from this? What is in this? in their pinto, like their regular bean burrito, there are pink beans. So I posed the question, Matt, what are pink beans?
I don't know.
That's my new question for everybody. So if is it a kidney bean? Because kidney beans are like a pinkish red color. But I got a little weirded out, and now I really want to Google it.
It's not a kidney bean.
But they have pinto beans and a pink bean. So what is a pink bean then?
Okay, we're going to have to find out.
We're going to have to do a Google or we're going to call Taco Bell corporate.
Yeah, somebody listening has like fierce legume knowledge, and they will let us know what the pink bean is.
Legume specialists of all the Treasure Valley.
Yeah, there's some weird with beans because like I really like. Oh man, I make a killer pinto bean, and what I didn't realize when I started making them is like But
you don't know how to make refried beans. You don't make homemade refried beans. You make killer pinto beans.
Listen, I like single fried beans, not refried.
Anyway. They must be refried.
Oh my god, you know what? Juanitas or Rosaritas or whatever, the organic.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good, man. Listen, I'll eat your pinto beans at some point if you bring them in. We'll do like a 7-layer dip with your pinto beans.
Done.
That'd be great. And your crema on top. That'd be incredible.
Crema on the side.
Crema on the side.
But I also have to do like a side of rice then. Because I feel like if we're going to bean dip, we might as well have like a side of rice.
We make a good Spanish rice too. We'll just mix it up. But the point is like, I don't understand how you have something like a black-eyed pea that's actually a bean that you can cook in like an hour versus the turtle or pinto bean, which you soak overnight and then takes a substantial amount of time. Like
you
obviously
soak your pinto beans?
When you get dried beans, what do?
Are you joking? Oh, you're serious. Okay, I've never had good luck soaking them overnight.
Andy, this is the least difficult task of all bean making.
Oh, no.
You just put them in a pot with water.
It gets easier. Okay. So you take your pinto beans, measure it out. You put them in an Instapot. You chop an onion in half, throw it in there, bay leaves. You put your jalapeno, any seasoning that you want. You add your water. I usually add chicken stock. And I pressure cook them for about, 3 hours. And I just leave them and they do their thing. And they are so soft and perfect every time.
Listen to me. I do not like collecting kitchen appliances. Like
it's an Instapot,
like
Matt.
The Ninja air fryer. Did you know that Costco ran into a huge problem with those Ninja air fryers?
No.
Because what happened is they were like Ninjas, right? Or was it the Ninja blender? It doesn't matter. But like air fryers got hot over COVID because everybody was cooking things at home.
Yeah.
And they were cooking things really fast at home. That was a big thing. So then the Costco realizes they're like, oh, this is really important. This is a great consumer item. Let's buy a bunch of them. And then the air fryer people were like, oh, this is our time. You know how like 5 years ago, apple cider, like hard apple ciders came in and they were like, this is our time.
In their defense, it wasn't a couple years ago. I was drinking hard apple ciders 12 years ago.
No, but okay, I'm not talking about Angry Orchard apple cider. I'm talking like
all the different brands.
Yeah, so
they got super big.
Costco started carrying this triple pack of these like tall glass bottles of hard cider.
Okay.
And they're like, we've been making cider for 115 years. And like this is, and you know that this person's like great granddaddy was like, hey, there will come a time when this is it. And like this was their
Our name will be justified.
Yeah. And like I got into them for 2 months and then realized I'm like, I don't like apple juice this much. Like this is not, I can't do this. Like we've tried to reinvent libations 1,000 times over, like the seltzers and the hard seltzers and, like High Noon. And I have a buddy back home who made, well, not back home, in my former home, not back home.
Yeah.
But I have a buddy in my former home who made this hard seltzer that does not use corn alcohol. It actually uses vodka, and he has to sell it as like a spirit in the spirit section. Like all of these
Seriously?
Yeah, but it's like, what are you doing? Can you just open a bottle of wine? Would you like a gin and tonic? Like, can we just stick with the drinks that we've had? Like, these things survived. And that's what I eventually came to. It's like, why am I drinking this hard? Like, if I want a drink, I can just make a gin and tonic, which I dearly love. Not a big fan of vodka, but gin and like Bombay Sapphire and Fever Tree. Never
would have pegged you for a gin and tonic kind of guy. I don't know why. I mean, I heard you say margarita.
Yeah, like I love tequila too, but
okay. I assumed I'm a tequila kind of gal. Like I stick to my lane. So even when I do a Moscow Mule, I do a tequila mule. and I use tequila in it instead because I prefer it that way. I
appreciate that.
I was gonna ask you though.
Can we get drinks on this show sometime? We've never had drinks. We'll have to do it later in the day.
We did.
Oh, we did.
When we got pizza.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such good pizza.
Yeah.
I miss them.
Yeah.
We need
They're good. Anyway, you were saying.
I was gonna ask you what margarita you had though. Because you said it had like a different seasoning around the rim.
It was just a standard, like their standard.
A Cadillac?
Yeah, whatever was in the top left corner of the menu. It was like just their margarita that had like their shriveled up, pathetic dried orange in it, which
I think that was for aesthetics. Cool. I don't think that was intentional.
Oh, sure. Listen, you got to set the ambiance.
I mean, when you're on a rooftop lounge, Matt.
It was
honestly, it's a beautiful view of our little city, though, I will say.
I was really impressed by it. And I was pleased because there were only 2 people up there, so nobody saw me. And not like somebody's going to recognize me. I'm not saying like that is not my position. I don't like anybody seeing me.
You're like, it's 2 people out.
It's 2 It's 2 people.
It's 2 people. I must not exit the house.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what happened. There came a time in my adult life when I'm like, I don't want to be seen by anyone. Like well before I ever had any kind of like public facing podcast, like I just don't like being seen.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Like the sphere of people I want to interact with just gets reduced more and more. And I love meeting people one-on-one. Like this, I meet with people all day long that I've never met. And we have these great conversations. Like, this is so awesome. Like I just met Chief Soa from Canyon County, who's came in to talk about the levy override that they're doing. I've never met this guy. I've never spoken with him on the phone. I text messaged him. He agreed to come in. He was here for an hour and a half. We were laughing, having a great time. I was like, this is great. But like, if I saw him out in public, I'd be like, oh my God, don't see me.
Okay. So I think that's where we differ is I am fueled by networking events. I'm fueled by being out and seeing people. It energizes me. I know that's hard to believe. Coffee energizes me, but people also do too.
Okay, so this is a perfect example. I went to the chamber networking event up in Spring Creek.
Yes,
right.
Spring Creek Brewing.
Right. So I go up there and I literally am there and I'm like hiding in the corner with my Diet Coke. I'm like, I can't do this. It's a little too much to me. Listen, last time we talked, we mentioned the Sea Salt Creamery. Is that, and that's in Star, is that near Sid's?
No, Sid's. Okay, so Sid's has 3 locations right now in Idaho.
Okay.
They have a village location, which is central to all of us because, I mean, all of us live within
the Village of Meridian?
Yeah, the Village of Meridian. Right. They have a location there. They have a location downtown Boise.
Okay.
Actually, catty corner to the Guru Donuts.
Did you say catty corner?
Catty corner, yeah.
You mean kitty corner?
Is that a thing? Is it called kitty corner?
Keep talking.
Okay, so they have a location kitty corner to Guru downtown, and then they have a new location called off of Barber Street where it's off of the Greenbelt, and they have all of them now have like a full bar. It's kind of been this crazy.
It's definitely kitty corner.
Is it?
There's no.
Have I been saying it wrong for 33 years?
Oh no! Now kitty corner versus catty corner are both terms that mean diagonal across from something. Goodness. I guess I grew up. Look, tomato. It doesn't matter.
I feel so much better that I haven't been saying it wrong for this entire
you should
time.
Feel better. I just really want to get the burger. I know we've mentioned this several times. I just want to get the burger brawl lined up and start crushing it.
Well, there's a new
I can't. This is like shopping at Costco when you're hungry. Like I can't I'm like, what about this? Oh, what about that?
Oh,
now I'm hungry.
You're going to love this one. Okay, so we have our coffee with the chamber coming up next, not next week. Depending on when this comes out, it's September 18th. And Holland Bites and Brews is actually going to be our coffee supplier.
Yes.
And all I keep dreaming about is her potato soup.
You got to eat it.
I got to eat the potato soup.
I didn't get to eat it. I had the little, the like oatmeal balls.
The roost balls.
Yeah. Those were super tasty.
Yeah, those were delicious. And it was so cool. We have our, so we have not a marketing manager, our goodness gracious membership manager, Holly. She was in the office and she had ordered some goodies from Shauna at Holland Bites and Brews. And she actually came and hand delivered them to her. Like came and delivered them by the office. And so it was just really neat to see, like she's out and about in the community every single day. And courtesy of the chamber, coffee that morning is free. So anybody that wants to come and network, coffee's free. Holland Bites and Brews, good people. I'm going to be there. So yeah.
You know what I really like about this state? Are you familiar with the concept of, I don't know the actual term for it, but the concept that essentially municipalities have to entice individuals to live there. So what I mean by that is there's an individual that I heard an interview with that was talking about the nature of the crisis in some of the surrounding states that are very tech-based. And he said, look, here's the thing. Like 30 or 40 years ago, if you wanted to work in tech, there was one place in the world
Silicon Valley.
could go. That's right. So so this otherwise sleepy, normal area that was nestled right next to Stanford University, if you wanted to work in tech, you had to be there, right? And that's where everything was. Stanford also started grabbing a lot of copyrights on inventions and things like that, and that's a big thing with Stanford. Right. It doesn't matter. But the point is, because of that, that area did not have the obligation to continue increasing in quality of life because people were obligated to be there if they enjoyed
you wanted
this
to
line
be that
of work.
Yeah.
That's right. The other thing that happened is that because the tech world deregulated economic prosperity from geographic surroundings, meaning like the tech world starts drawing, it's like a funnel for money from across the state, across the country, across the world.
Yeah.
Like if you're Amazon, wherever your hub is, that money's like coming into the hub, right? So you had increased property values and increased value of the area completely unrelated to the quality of life of the area. Yep. So this is how you get the like $6 million teardown house that like people just want the 5,000 square foot lot.
Yep.
That's all they care about. And then they're going to build some like 4-story with like a wine cellar, whatever it is. That
was
leads
oddly
to
specific for the record.
I know. I actually know somebody he's related to the person who started Box.com.
Okay.
Right. So it's like Dropbox, but Box. And he has some like 8,000 square foot wine cellar. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is, you and I experienced a version of that, which is, hey, look, we are connected to these economic hubs that don't have any obligation to improve our quality of life.
Right.
We're born into them. I didn't choose to be born there.
Exactly.
I was born there. In fact, I realized today that I was a first generation Californian, first and last, because my grandfather moved from Mexico to Arizona. He and my grandmother met, and then they had kids. My grandfather had gotten his citizenship somehow and like fought in World War II almost immediately, which is wild. Like back in the day, they're like, hey, you want to work? You're going to work hard? Great. You can be a citizen. You have to like fight in this war. If you survive, you come back and like good things happen. And that's what he did. But then my dad was born in Arizona. And then my dad, when they were kids, moved to like Winder, California or something. And then they eventually made it to Costa Mesa. But then I was born in Northern California. So it's like, oh, I was the first person to be born. And now we're gone. So it's not going to matter, right? But that experience in that state of, hey, you have to be here for these things. You have the aeronautical industry, you have, the Hollywood industry, you have tech industry, you have all of these things. But here, you have a municipality, you have a community that's interested in improving the quality of life. Yep. Like you go to Whitewater Park, right off of Veterans Memorial, or you go to, I haven't been there, but I heard that it's like the pond or something in Star that's like large, public.
Well, Reed Merrill is a great example.
Reed Merrill's a great example.
Yeah.
Going down to, do you go down to the river with your kids?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
All the time off the Greenbelt right there behind the Hilton and the Bardonnais.
Right. And Revel, the older, like it is so beautiful and so nice. It blows my mind when we go down there. And to maintain this and make sure it stays safe, people were talking about prepping the river and like what it actually takes. Like, dude, they have to go out there with chainsaws. Yeah. Like I have a great appreciation for how dangerous even small rivers and creeks can be, because I was into whitewater kayaking for a bit. And it's like, dude, you have a fallen tree limb that has branches that are going down. If you get swept into those branches, you'll go straight down. It's over. And they keep it safe. Like you don't hear about people dying frequently on the river. No. And it's because it is intentionally maintained and really preserved to be safe. And I just appreciate that people are focused on making life better here and not like you have to be here so I don't really care. Like the business is Halden Bites and Brews. They have to fight for customers, make a better experience. It's not like, hey, all I need to do is get like a location here because people have to be here and they have to buy their coffee somehow. So like I will be here and like, I got the lease now, so I'll just be the coffee shop that's on the corner. Right. You actually have to improve people's lives, which I think is so great for us.
Well, and there's one word that always comes to mind when these kinds of conversations happen for me. It's intention. There are intentional choices being made, not just from a city standpoint, but from a, consumer standpoint, from a business owner standpoint, because consumers, we have, especially in Treasure Valley with vehicles, everything's a drive away. We could be going to pretty much anywhere
right.
we want. We can go to Rembrandt's if we want coffee. We can go to Jovino's. We can go to K Vista. We can go to Coffee and Bakery. I mean, we have so many choices. We actively are making intentional choices on where we want to go. So these business owners are making active, intentional choices in their business to be appealing, to be streamlined, to be state of the art, to provide a better product. And I think what's really neat about a lot of these corporations or companies, small businesses, they focus on local. Even in the world that we live in, they are locally sourcing their items, making sure that it's not only good for their consumer, but it's good for our local economy. So they're making these intentional choices and then watching them on a small scale, then seeing the city trying to make intentional choices that they feel are best for our local economy. So obviously we have big businesses coming into certain restaurants. Like we were just talking about Chick-fil-A coming in or other things like that. It's just always so interesting to me that all of these different layers are trying to make these intentional choices and how it coincides with one another and how it makes this community that we live in so unique. I think it's a unique thing for us. I don't think this is a thing everywhere. I think we have a passion for what we do and where we live, and we want to keep it beautiful and wonderful. And I think that's an intentional choice on everybody's end.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'm trying to be more conscious and intentional with my consumer purchases, like McIntyre pastures.
Mm-hmm.
I really like them. And here's the thing. You either get hyper convenience and you're detached from your locality, or you get some degree of intention and you are attached. For instance, McIntyre pastures, they have eggs, fantastic eggs, and we eat a lot of eggs. If you buy 10 dozen eggs from them, and like I like eggs, so it doesn't matter to me. My wife does a lot of baking. She's not allergic to eggs like you. So she does a lot of baking, and it's totally fine because we'll rip through them. And if you buy 10 dozen, they're the same cost per dozen as buying it at Albertsons. Mm-hmm. Right? So it doesn't really matter, but you just have to be intentional. Now, if you only want to buy 1 dozen eggs, right, and you want it immediately, you get convenience, and yeah, that will work. But in the absence of that, it doesn't.
What's really interesting though about McIntyre Farms is we've had their meat, and the quality of their meat, the intention that goes into like the way they operate their family farm is, it's exceptional. Like my mom, back when they were living in California, because she couldn't take us out to dinner and do things like that, she would actually go and order us like a meat box from them and eggs. And my husband would go and pick it up from one of their...
Oh, when you were living here?
Yeah, when we were living here, they were living there. And then she would basically buy us dinner. And so that way we go pick it up. So we got McIntyre Farms once, every other week or whatever it was. And it was amazing. We now have found our kind of like favorite little family farm that's pretty close to our house. Sure. And we go and we get our raw dairy milk, and they're licensed and they're great. And we buy our cow in bulk.
Is that Lazy SP?
No, it isn't.
Because I had that. I had the Lazy SP gal in here. She does the raw milk. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's Howling Farm. It's in Nampa. Awesome. They're wonderful. Great people. It's been really easy to work with them. But it's that same kind of concept of making sure it's top of mind. Because it'd be easy enough for me to go with the kids and ride my bike to Albertsons on the corner, go get a bunch of stuff, ride home, or drive my car there on the way home from work. But it's that choice. I know what choice I'm making. I also know that my money is going to fund a family farm. My money is going to keeping their dream and their business alive. And I don't know. There's something about that is just like, it makes me feel so much more connected to my community. It makes me feel connected to the food I'm eating and the investment of my energy.
Right.
So those intentions that you're making are not only good for your family health-wise, but they're really great for these other families, because you're not supporting them so they can go and hire somebody to do their marketing and hiring somebody to clean their house. You're doing it so their kid can go to soccer.
Yeah. And I think what you're pointing out, I think you have to come to terms with the idea that, like, the way I grew up was that we were always detached from the origin of the value proposition, right? But not just from a food standpoint, but literally like my mom, when I was younger, worked at like Aetna Healthcare. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the origin of her economic engine was decentralized across, however far Aetna health insurance ran. She was a CPA for them. And you have that type of thing where if you looked at a lot of different things that the people in the area that I grew up did, they were all decentralized to different areas of the country. Like, that's ultimately what the issue was. But with McIntyre Farm, it's like, no. this is the beginning and end, right? Like we have a piece of land that we are now like, yeah, we buy some, hay or grain from some other guy who over there, by the way, and he grows it. We then use it with our animals, and then we disperse this product to the rest of the community. And this is the closed loop. And there's a difference in consumerism when you participate in that. Like it's just, there was such a sterility in my former community that I just don't like. And there was a rush, and there was a sterility in it that you were always close to everything. Like I could go to Costco in 5 minutes, shop. I actually timed myself once leaving my house and back from Costco in 30 minutes. It was wild. And
that's pretty amazing for Costco.
I was on point. Right.
You were training for that moment.
I was training. I ran through. I was wearing running shoes. But you have those types of things where we just traded this convenience for not being connected to our community, not knowing who was providing what, and not really caring.
But we were born. I feel like
we were born
into it. Whereas when we made a choice to move here, it was an active effort to move here. It was an active effort to make those choices to remove sterility from our lives and to reconnect ourselves to the people in our community that are funding our community as a whole. You know, I think that's something that's not necessarily unique to Idaho or unique to Eagle or the Treasure Valley, because there's probably a lot of communities around the country that are like this, that we're very similar to. We actually have an inner city visit happening here pretty much about a month away from Bixby. And they want to see what our sleepy town has to offer. They want to see what do we do and how do we function and how does our society work together. And it's going to be really interesting too to ask them the same about their community. So I think we made a choice to remove sterility, and it's active effort. It really is. Right.
That intentionality. That's a big one.
Absolutely.
What are things happening in the area? Because I know a lot of people are worried about. I heard from somebody the other day. They're like, listen,
I love it.
Everything's going to crash. And I'm like, come on. Because I've been hearing this since I graduated from college and started learning anything about the economy in the world. They're like, it's all coming to an end. It's like, why? Why are we saying this? But people are worried about the presidential election coming up. And so some people are really anxious about that from a business standpoint. Do you guys at the chamber, do you see any businesses contracting or preparing themselves for this stuff? Or is it pretty much just, hey, look, come hell or high water, I'm trying to sling as much awesome coffee as possible, so I don't really care?
Bazinga. It's pretty much that one at the end. No matter where we're at, because I mean, we are one of those wonderful nonprofits that survived COVID. I mean, we saw people retract a bit during COVID because businesses were getting shut down and people weren't able to function the same way that they were. But we did everything to weave and bobble to provide value to our members. And coming into this year, another piece of this chamber progression is how do we provide intrinsic value for our community in a way that is unique to Eagle? So for us, yes, the elections, yes, all of these things, the geopolitical atmosphere affects all of our businesses. But for us personally, we're going to be here doing what we do and helping out no matter what we can, no matter what happens at the end of the day.
It's so irksome that this has come to dominate so many of the conversations. I was just talking to the chief from Canyon County, and he's like, listen, man, they're not going to be affecting your emergency service timing. They're not going to be affecting what, tech we have on the ambulances with like our heart monitoring systems and stuff like that. Like we affect that. This is your life or the end of your life.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a terrible person, but it's true, right? These are people that are coming to save you.
Yeah.
And so much of our anxieties and stuff are now dominated. Oh my gosh. Did you see the debate the other night?
I did.
I was so... the first one...
I was cleaning the entire time I was watching it.
Oh my God.
Because I knew I couldn't sit still.
Okay, here's the thing. I watched it, and the first one, I was like, this is lit. This is the craziest time of my life. Oh my God. Regardless of what you think about anything that was said, I was like, this is wild, right? And I watched this most recent one. I'm like, okay, this went from wild to just... how are we here? Like, how is this happening? The thing's going back and forth. And I'm on a group text with some of my friends from my former place. And there are some people in it that are, die hard one way or another. And it's just like, nobody's talking, nobody's being reasonable. Nobody, and like, that's the nature of my entire existence. Like, just be reasonable. I'm like, I'm good with that. Like, I love being reasonable.
I am a transparent person. I am very honest and I am open, and that is who I am. So I appreciate that.
And this debate was not that. Have you seen all those memes? Let them eat cats and stuff.
Did you see the videos though?
Oh, they had the AI videos of him running with like.
Oh no! I'm not talking about no. Yes, I have seen that, and there was quite a big chuckle that came out of me. No, the legit videos, the body cam footage of this actually happening.
This can't be real. Are you?
I will send you the videos.
This is from Springfield.
Mm-hmm. There's body cam footage from the police that responded to the actual event. Talking to the neighbors and actually arresting the woman that killed the cat. Yeah. It's a real thing.
Okay. Wait. This is... Okay.
That wasn't a joke, Matt.
This is at the heart of the difficulty with politics in my mind at this stage of life. Because, okay, do you remember when Trump when COVID was going through and he's like, we need to like... sterilize or something your lungs, and people are like, he literally is telling people to shoot bleach in their lungs.
I remember that.
And then he was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. And then he said something about, I can't remember exactly what he indicated, but people were like, this is just ridiculous. And then the next second there's a news article. It's like, no, this actually isn't. There's a company that's using like an ultraviolet light stick that goes into people's lungs and attempts to sterilize the lungs
from
the
bacteria.
Yeah, right. So like, and you can think that's a bad idea. That's fine. But there's a company investing millions of dollars into this technology. And it's like, okay, if he had, and I don't know if that's what he was referring to, right? I'm not defending anything he's saying,
right.
But what I am saying is, if that's what he was referring to, then he wasn't wrong, right? So in this debate, he's like, there are people eating these cats. Maybe he saw the body cam footage. And then the moderator's like, that's not true. That I talked to this person. It's like, I don't care if you talk to the city. He actually had a very good point. Trump was like, well, perhaps it's in the city manager's best interest to deny this accusation. That doesn't mean it's not happening. I'm like, that's a fair point. Like if you had people in your city that were in fact stealing people's pets and eating them, would you want to admit it? Like, well, I probably wouldn't.
I think the most off-putting not only was the video of the cat, but was like the mass amount of video footage from locals that's coming out supposedly. And I'm assuming that these are honest. So I'm not going to say whether or not I know for a fact. I didn't fact check it myself.
Right.
But watching these videos, multiple videos of nationalities of people, different nationalities, carrying ducks out of parks and geese by their feet and walking away from parks with the geese and the ducks from the park, dead in their hands. That's a little hard for me to argue that it could potentially be happening.
First off,
just throwing that out there. I wouldn't eat
ducks would be very upsetting, but the geese are sons of I hate geese.
I will say,
take all the geese. Come on.
We're going to ruin an entire ecosystem, Matt. You can't say that kind of stuff.
They're terrible. They drown little ducklings and stuff. Oh, yeah. Waterfowl are very aggressive.
They're evil. Oh,
they're evil. So there was this duck park near where we used to live, and we'd go there, and there were these like geese-style birds that would drown the baby ducks. And like the mama duck or dad duck, whatever it was, the mallard, it was like, can't do anything because this giant waterfowl goose, the mutant thing is like all over it. Yeah, it's bad news.
Do you know how many people I've wanted to have this conversation with? Do you know how many people I've wanted to be like, have you seen the actual video? When this debate was happening, Matt, I sat there staring at the TV going, I watched it. What do you mean it didn't happen? And it was one of those moments where I go, oh, they think we're stupid. They think we're stupid. Okay.
I don't even know that it's a we. I just think that people are misinformed. I think that's what it is. I don't even think it's a we. I think it's that people think that, people are misinformed, right? Because I always like to give the most charitable interpretation.
Absolutely.
So let's say the moderator, first off, he's got an earpiece. For sure, he's got an earpiece. And Trump says something about people eating pets or ducks or whatever, and somebody in the earpiece is like, I just got off the phone with the city manager. That's not true. And they're like, say that's not true. And he's like, okay, we talked to the city manager. And it's like, yeah, but look, what do you want me to say? I saw this with my own two eyes. Like I saw, and he even said it. He was like, I saw this on TV. And they're like, well, the TV lies or something. It's like, but that doesn't mean.
Well, but here's the point. There's my point right there. He goes, I watched it on the news. Like your news stations are putting this out. I watched it on the news. So if it's not true, then you're saying that what you're putting out is not true.
Right.
So you just shot yourself in the foot.
I'm just
saying.
Sorry.
Just gonna say.
I love your trash talking look. We're like,
just gonna say. My trash talking face is the same face I say when I really like a cookie. It's the same face. I don't have many.
Your mouth scrunched to the side of your face.
I don't know. I got awkward and uncomfortable. Got really sweaty. It's all the coffee, Matt.
Oh my God, I got sweaty. Oh my God.
Really quick,
yes,
bringing it back.
Go.
Speaking of like government and things happening, we actually have a State of the City address coming up.
Oh, awesome.
With Mayor Brad Pike. He's going to be giving his State of the City address.
This is sponsored by the chamber, right?
Yeah, we actually put it on. We host it and we partner with the city. So they come in and Mayor Brad Pike, need to be formal. Mr. Mayor will be doing a presentation. We are going to be honoring Business of the Year. We have a wonderful trade show. Our members are making this free for the public. So their sponsorships.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Valnova is our title sponsor. We have Hilton, Garden Inn, and Idaho Power that are presenting sponsors.
Yeah.
Tons of members. So this is going to be a really great way to hear Mayor Pike's vision for our future of Eagle, to hear where we've come from, where we're going. And it's just a really nice evening. So yeah.
Look, I don't know how you got that lined up, but hook me up with that person because I would love to have that conversation with Mayor Brad Pike.
You can come join us. You should podcast live at our State of the City address.
When is this?
This is on October 15th, Tuesday. Tuesday, October 15th, 5:30.
I could actually live stream. I don't know. I'll have to talk to you about this.
We'll talk.
We'll talk off.
We'll podcast in the back.
Brandy, you're the best. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
Listen, we obviously need to have food next time because I am starving.
Food's getting lined up.
The smash taco now.
I heard
no pressure, Spitfire, but dang.
I heard Coffee and Bakery has gluten-free pastries. I'm actually going to go check that out today at 1:00. So if they do,
please. Because
I think we need coffee and pastries.
I called you like 2-3 weeks ago. I was like, Brandy, my wife and I are out having coffee.
Did you get my text?
Oh, I did get your text, but it was too late. We were already gone. It's like
it was 5 minutes later.
It's too late. We were already gone. Fair. The moment had passed. Okay.
I tried.
But like there needs to be a hub for like, oh no, gluten-free things. And I know Guru has some gluten-free donuts. They're not a member yet though, are they?
We'll talk about that another time.
Anyway, so there.
One day. I still support them.
But I'm not always a donut fan. Like I like pastries, but I don't necessarily like the most sweet pastries. You know, like a gluten-free croissant or something. Yeah. Those don't really exist, do they? They have the long fermented.
They do.
There was the Wild Lady Bakery or something that used to have the gluten-free croissant things. Croissant muffins at
those are so good.
Where was it? It was at Coffee and Supply.
Yeah.
They used to have those. I don't know if they have them anymore. But those were really good.
Yeah.
The long fermented, I can tolerate like half of one. It's kind of like you and eggs.
Yeah.
Like if I have half of one, I'm like, I know I'm going to pay, but so
yeah.
So anyway, listen, food next time. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.